Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings Week 16 rankings, debate by position you want to position. You hit the description and get to those time codes to hear about everything that you need to know. Or if you don't care what I have to say, the lists in order rankings are down in the description as well. You can always find them up at dknation.com. Reminder to smash a like to the episode and sub to the channel. The Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League for Week 16. It's Saturday this week. Remember, Saturday games is the main slate this week, so go get your spot right now. There's 2,500 entries, the first time anyone's got a crack at it, so it's there. Reminder to get your spot right now. And the big thing, Jake Ciely, I'm giving away $1,000 in cold, hard cash on Friday's Pat Mayo Experience. Have you gotten into the draw yet?
No, I haven't, but I will now.
Well, just hit the description. You can find all of the ways to get entries into that draw, and some of them are worth more than others. Like you sub to Mayo Media Network, boom, there's two right there. 2 ballots for you into the draw.
Oh, I'm already in.
Then you're already in, so your name is eligible in that draw. If you subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience on Apple Podcasts, rate and review 5 stars. Boom, there's 7. Do the same thing on Spotify. All of a sudden, you got 14 ballots. So you can find the entire list down in the description and comment section right now to get your ballots in. I don't know why you wouldn't spend the 20 seconds, Jake, to get yourself potentially $1,000, right?
I think you should also give negative entries. Like when people ask you, where will somebody rank if they don't play and blah, 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 you should take away entries.
That sounds like a draw that you would do. I just wouldn't pay attention.
Oh, because I checked the comments. By the way, Merry Christmas. Other ugly Christmas sweater, by the way. There you go. Star Wars.
That's a Christmas sweater? Maybe the colors aren't coming through. It looks more yellow than green and red.
No, for some reason they decided that their Christmas sweater, because of Star Wars, they still did the blue and the red. It's very faint on the screen for some reason. This is not coming through very well.
Yeah, well, now you
There
need
you go.
you need a 4K
Snowflakes.
camera instead. There's snowflakes on it?
I would love. Yeah, there are snowflakes at the top. Or are you trying to make a joke?
I'm making a joke.
I also like. I just noticed that it's like slanted. It's not even like properly aligned on the say it.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, really good job, guys. It's ugly.
It's to gear everyone towards me. That's the easiest way to do it. So let's start with running backs.
Okay.
Right now, Derrick Henry comes in at number 1 against the Texans. When was the last time he didn't rush for at least 200 yards against the Texans? When did that happen?
When was the last time he didn't face the Texans in December? I mean, that's really what it comes down to as well.
So Henry, McCaffrey, Jacobs, Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Delvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Nick Chubb, Ken Walker, Tony Pollard. So there is a name that could be in here if we want to get to it. I have Aaron Jones at number 15. This was before I released these and got the graphics made, before A.J. Dillon sustained a concussion on Monday Night Football. How much higher would you move up Aaron Jones? I currently have him at 15. Like, would you play him over... I would play him over Najee Harris for sure. Would you play him over Joe Mixon?
I think you make the argument over Joe Mixon. I think you can make the argument over Miles Sanders with Gardner Minshew, which I know we'll talk about too. Not that Gardner Minshew is a huge downgrade for this offense, but if you're talking about nitpicking here with no A.J. Dillon to take away, and we're talking about basically Aaron Jones a few weeks ago when A.J. Dillon was almost a non-factor for a while there, and then they started using him again recently. So I think that with no A.J. Dillon, if it was my team, I would start Aaron Jones over Miles Sanders. I do think Miles Sanders bounces back. I mean, that was kind of a weird game script from the get-go. 2 interceptions by Hurts. Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns, like all that. Miles Sanders is going to bounce back. However, if it's Aaron Jones, because there's zero competition. Like there's still Gardner Minshew could be rusty. He only had like a spot appearance earlier this year and hasn't really had a start since last season. And, you know, maybe they hone in on their backs and say, hey, make Gardner Minshew beat us, which might not work because Gardner Minshew is pretty good. But, yeah, I would start Aaron Jones. I would even have in my mind a conversation about Aaron Jones versus Tony Pollard, as amazing as he's been, but just because there isn't another factor with Aaron. It's all Aaron Jones.
That's tough to be at this point of the season, and you are probably where you're at now if you're still alive because of Tony Pollard, if that's the situation.
Yes.
And Aaron Jones may have been holding. I mean, every third week he's really good, so that's always nice. But I think I'm going to keep.
He's
Pollard.
got the 30-point outlook.
He does
any given week.
And listen, it's a tough matchup against the Eagles for Tony Pollard.
That it really is. Well, the Eagles haven't been as good in the second half against the run. They've actually, I saw a lot of people talking about when the Giants were facing them. We're like, oh, it's a good matchup for Saquon Barkley. I was like, it's not good. It's better than it used to be, just like the Cowboys defense. Actually, the Cowboys defense is a good matchup for wide receivers at this point, but that was going to be a little bit of a comparison that their defense isn't as scary as it used to be.
Yeah, well, if they do eventually get everyone back, I think the Cowboys defense is going to be fine. But they're just kind of dealing with the triage unit in the secondary right now. So yeah, you can as evidenced by me winning all the monies on DraftKings, Jake, is that you can most definitely play stacks against the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I tweeted at you because I saw you tweet yours, and then Trevor Lawrence had the Holco. I told him about it. The Zay Jones smashed everywhere with Trevor Lawrence and everywhere. If it wasn't for Mike Williams, all I needed, I was similar to you. All I needed was Okonkwo or Mike Williams just to have double, get to 20, and I would have hit huge. I hit okay, but I would have hit huge if it just wasn't for the two of them.
Well, I'm glad Okonkwo didn't, because that was one of the guys I had to chase down to win the money. He had Okonkwo and I had Derrick Henry, so that worked out fine for me.
I had Henry too.
Oh, you played Henry, and why'd you play Henry and Okonkwo?
Because it was just the salary savings at tight end. It was kind of forced. I was kind of backed into it.
Yeah, see, you should have constructed your lineup a different way, pal.
Who else was it going to go to tight end down there?
Well, it's not even that you have to go to a tight end down there. You have to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your lineup, because having a running back and a tight end kind of eats from it's Cerberus.
I know.
It's the snake that
it worked before. It worked last week though.
You're trying to
win. Scored and Henry.
You're trying to win a tournament.
I know. This is a smaller field. This is a small field.
It's still a tournament. You're still trying to win it.
Yeah, it's still. I would have been fine. It was more Mike Williams than it was Okonkwo. The tight end savings to get to Henry. Henry was the big thing. Henry was the big get. I'm okay with that one situation. I agree with you in general, but last week it was more Mike Williams than anything. Mike Williams was the bad call. I'll admit that.
Hey, I won money with Mike Williams, so it was fine. So Tony Pollard I'm going to keep at number 10. Aaron Jones is going to be number 11. Now in the rankings, Miles Sanders, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne, Jamal Williams, and David Montgomery. Have we got to the point of the year where, it's been this case all year, but Jamal Williams just apparently isn't going to score a touchdown every week?
It's not going to score a touchdown every single week. I wouldn't even put it this high. The fact is, you look at the yardage and the production in that game, Swift was doing better. Swift had the best output, 10 points per game. There were 10 points per game, 10 fantasy points in that game. And I expected more, honestly, from DeAndre Swift. I thought DeAndre Swift could get 15 to 20 because of how good he was. And the problem is they keep going to Jamal Williams, but it's not just Jamal Williams. And that's part of the reason why he's not scoring touchdowns, because he's not getting all the goal line work, because now it's Justin Jackson getting some of the. So, no, I campaigned for Jamal Williams for the longest time. And I said he's just going to keep scoring touchdowns. Not anymore. Jamal Williams, I would have behind. Before I even get to it, so I definitively have him behind Latavius Murray. I don't care that he got usurped by a Marlon Mack touchdown. Do you have Jeff Wilson? You do have Jeff Wilson in the ranks. So I'd play Cam Akers. Cam Akers, another good game. 100 yards. This is what we waited for Cam Akers. I would start Cam Akers before Jamal Williams at this point. I would start Cam Akers before any Detroit running backs against Carolina defense, which is pretty decent this year.
Yeah, it was till last week, and then Jalen Warren and Najee ran all over them.
Yeah, they did. But is that a 1 week thing that you're going to go off the run? So DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams? I would still go Swift over Williams just because of the touches, and I'm going to take.
Put it this way: there's no chance that people are still in their semifinal games be like, man, I need to.
Or Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift. At least you probably could have got there with Jamal Williams because he was a later pick and scored all of the touchdowns. With DeAndre Swift, maybe you made it, but it's very clear that you have better players on your team at this point.
Yeah, and you should. Well, this is why I'm telling you, all these players would be better plays, in my opinion. I'd play Latavius Murray before I played Jamal Williams at this point.
Play Devin. Singletary's tough. Singletary's tough.
I would play Cam Akers. I would move Cam Akers up with Latavius Murray, and then I would go Murray, Akers, Jamal Williams, Singletary.
Murray, Akers, Jamal Williams, Singletary. Okay, I can get behind that. Would you play Mostert? Actually, I'll go through the entire range here. So I have David Montgomery, Jarek, Brian Robinson, who apparently doesn't see the field. He runs so much on his runs, they're like, you need a break, pal. So you have to go back to the bench. Zeke at number 22, Leonard Fournette at number 23, Pacheco, Latavius, Devin Singletary, Mostert, Cam Akers, Jamal Williams now at 29, and then Deion Jackson at number 30. So you like, would you like, I think Pacheco and Murray are pretty comparable for what they do on the same teams, although there's not Marlon Mack is taking away from Latavius Murray. Jarek is taking away and is now the better play, apparently, than Isaiah Pacheco, but there's just more offense to go around on that team, so I'm still good with both those guys over Latavius.
Yeah, like I'm looking at your ranks. I want Jerick McKinnon high. The Jerick McKinnon's your type of player. He's James White, but better.
He's my guy.
He's better James White.
I'm with you.
But you look at the names in front of him, and it's like, yeah, sure. If you want to start Jerick McKinnon over any of the Jerick McKinnon is number 3 in the past couple of weeks or something like that, something ridiculous like that. But if you want to start him, go right ahead. But the problem still is if you look at every single name in front of him now that Jamal Williams isn't there, it's volume. Like we're talking about James Conner, 90%. David Montgomery, are they really going to use Khalil Herbert that much if he's even activated in his first game back? And as against Buffalo, I guess that's one you can make an argument for. But Etienne, he bounced back last week and is beginning insane volume. Dobbins, even on 1.5 legs, looks amazing.
He looks great.
So
I can't not watch the Ravens games, see number 27 come out of the backfield, and just like with his stature. I don't know why I never noticed this before, but he legit looks like Ray Rice.
I think I could see that too. I think a lot of people would draw that comparison in their mind because of the stature and the build, and
the number on the Ravens.
And, well, obviously, no. That was the inferred. I thought everybody would assume that. Maybe there's a lot of people that don't remember Ray Rice. So okay, that's fair to say.
When did Ray Rice get run out of football? What year was that?
When he punched the woman in the.
Yeah, again, got caught. Yeah, he came back.
Oh, that you're saying? Oh, I thought you forgot what he got run out for.
No. But he came back after that, and then he was just no good anymore.
Oh yeah, who did he play for? I forgot who he played for after that. I think
he always played for the Ravens, but like he came back and then he was just done. That was it. Yeah, he last played in the NFL in 2013. So there's people out there who are watching the show who most definitely like don't remember Ray Rice.
Yeah, and that was the year they stunk.
Sure.
Was he 3 yards per carry that year?
Yeah, he
3
was
yards
really
per carry that year.
But he's been out of the league for almost 9 years.
But see, wait. But 2012 was an amazing. It was 2011 and 12 were the amazing years. So did they get run out the league after he stunk? Like that's what it is. That are we misremembering? I think he stunk and then got run out at the same time.
He did, but I think he eventually. Maybe he did. Maybe that's what happened. Yeah, he only played 6 years in the NFL.
Yeah, he got run out while stinking. Like he was already starting to be trashed that year, and I think that's while it was going on. Anyway, spending too much time on that. But yeah, the Isaiah Pacheco, I keep falling back into this, and it's kind of like, can Kansas City get out to a lead? Do they not know how to get out to a lead at this point? Because it's like, they should be able to nurse a lead and nurse the second half and run Isaiah Pacheco 20 times and every single week. Oh, look, now the Texans have a lead. What the frick are they doing? But Seattle, you can run against even if they don't get out to a lead. I think both are in play. If you have both of them, I think I go back to the thing about the Cowboys. Just play both. They might be your best 2 options. Like, don't worry about people say this, and I'm just kind of like diverging from our topic real quick for this. Is a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to play both players from the same team or whatever. Okay, if your decision is Pacheco versus Zeke, okay, split difference, play Zeke, and don't start him with McKinnon. But if you're saying Pacheco versus Gus Edwards, just play Pacheco.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, just play Pacheco. It's okay to start both if there's a big gap to your next option.
Yeah, I would try to think of like your personal fantasy team at this point, especially in 12 and 14 team leagues, to correlate it a little bit with like DraftKings lineups, like how you try to build lineups for cash games or on like small slates where if there's only like the Saturday games last week, there's 3 games, 6 teams to choose from. Like, yeah, you're going to play like Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook on this team. I know that those 2 are great players, but what I was talking to you about at the very beginning of the show of like taking away potential points from yourself really only matters when there's 10 to 12 games to choose from, when you have a bounty of options. Once you shrink that down, then you're just trying to get the most points possible, like the safest way possible. Maybe not the most correlated upside, but the best floor. And that's what you're saying with this play. I agree.
100%. 2 weeks ago, I had a lot of Zeke and Pollard 2 weeks ago, but those were cash, smaller field, that type of situation.
Oh, was that against Houston?
Yeah.
You didn't win.
No, cash.
No, even cash.
Small field. Plus money.
Really? You ended up with the rest of your team must have been pretty good then. You played Zeke and Pollard in a cash game, and you still got like against in that particular game. I get the logic behind it. They didn't smash in that game though, did they?
There was enough that because of the savings, because they were both in the the 5 to 6. Yes, Pollard was just barely in front. But I think Pollard was more expensive than Zeke that week.
Oh, Pollard.
Actually, I think he still is.
Pollard's been more expensive. I mean, he scored what, like double the amount of fantasy points?
That was also at Garrett Wilson that week, 2 weeks ago.
The unplayable,
I forget, I have to go back and
the
look at the
unplayable Garrett Wilson.
I know.
Guy.
Oh my God, we gotta get to that whole situation.
Well, let's get to the Colts situation because I have Deion Jackson at number 30.
We do have to talk about that
in the rankings, and I have Zach Moss at number 47. You could swap those two guys if you wanted to tell yourself the story and be right. Mainly because this all depends on how you think the game flow goes. The only reason that Zach Moss ended up with more snaps than Deion Jackson after Jonathan Taylor left the game because the Colts were up 11 billion points. If they were down, if they were in the Viking situation, Deion Jackson would have played the entire time. So,
yeah.
I think that I don't think the Chargers are going to necessarily like rout them. I think it's not necessarily close to a split. I think it's like 60-40, 65-35. Obviously, I think the Colts are going to be losing. Thus, I lean towards Deion Jackson, and I do think outside of goal line touches, which don't really come all that often for the Colts, the more value and best floor for a running back this week presides with Deion Jackson because he's going to be the pass catcher.
I agree with you. So I compare this to the Patriots situation. So the one reason, so for the waivers, I put Moss in front of Deion Jackson, but I broke it down like this because if you look at the 2 games after this, hopefully you're not playing Week 18. But if you are, the Colts get the Giants and the Texans after this. So that points more to Zach Moss. That's why I have, and they're back-to-back. But I made the same point you did, and I compared it to the Patriots situation where last week we were saying, look, if Ramondre Stevenson plays, the between the tackles tough pound runner is going to be the next man up because that's Kevin Harris, not Pierre Strong, who replicates Stevenson. So if Stevenson was out, Strong would flip in front of him because Strong's the pass catcher. That's where I'm with you on this. Deion Jackson, the pass catcher. I think if you talk even neutral game script, I would lean towards him because he's more of the pass catcher. He's shown bell cow work. He's actually had 2 really good games, and the down game that he had was with Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. So I'm not going to put too much fault in him. So that's where I lean with you with Deion Jackson. But if the crazy thing were to happen and the Colts get out to an early lead, it would be a Zach Moss game. So that's where I compare it to the Patriots. Think of it if it was Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. This is Deion Jackson and Zach Moss. So completely agree with you, but could be completely wrong in the ranks because the game just could dictate what the usage is.
And I am leaning towards the situation I think has the highest percentage of happening. And let's not forget either that, Zach Moss isn't very good, and Jonathan Taylor can barely run behind this line.
No. We're going to, by the end of the season, everybody's going to have Zach Moss and Marlon Mack in the Hall of Fame like they always do. But we do this every single year. I'm so tired of these 2 guys.
It's funny that you really don't like Marlon Mack. He's like the new Christine Michael. Was that his name?
Kristen Michael.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he was so good. I never had to learn.
It was
his
spelled
name.
Christine, but it was Kristen.
He had
Kristen
one good game in his career, but like he ended up on every single team and never playing. At least Marlon Mack plays on these teams.
Sure, but it's just like people like rose-colored glasses his career, like because
I have to ask you, who is hyping up Marlon Mack to you?
You don't check your comments. That's the problem. You should see. Like I could tell you just from the comments from years after years.
I think you need better readers, Jake. I'm not going to lie to you.
You're coming for the athletic readers now?
Yeah, I am.
You're coming for the thousands of subscribers?
I don't, listen, I wouldn't know because I'm not checking the comment section, but I doubt that the viewers of the Pat Mayo Experience are down there being like, oh my God, I can't believe you have Zach Moss and Marlon Mack so low, and you have Christian McCaffrey so high. That doesn't make any sense.
I've been doing this with Marlon Mack for multiple years. You're coming for the thousands and thousands of athletic subscribers reading my columns. Like Lauren knows. I do the waiver show with Lauren, and I have to bring Marlon Mack up ad nauseum every single year because people keep asking about him. Just as annoyed as I am. This is why you don't come on my show, because you don't want to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah, you have your guests every single week, and they're slotted into their times. And it's usually conflicting with times when I record my show. Sorry.
That is true. We'll do something in the offseason, and then you can just yell at everybody on The Athletic at the entire time.
Oh, my God. Well, I do a show with Nando.
We should do a mailbag with you. That's what we should do.
There's a reason I don't do those on these shows. But I do a show with Nando every single week over on the Better Sports Network for an hour. Just me, him, and Corey.
Oh,
I just rag on him.
Does he just try to piss you off the entire time?
Who, Nando?
Yeah.
No, I mean the show's presented by Mayo Media Network. He doesn't want to get mad at the boss for that one. How the tables have turned, Nando. but I just basically take the entire time to make fun of all of his like jabroni friends that he brings along for the ride.
I gotta tune into this. I don't get a lot of time for other podcasts, but I'm gonna have to tune into this one.
It's live. You can watch it on the Better Sports Network app, completely free. Yeah, I'm live from 4 to 5 on Wednesdays. I think we're doing an evergreen one this week. It's just basically me and Corey teaming up against Nando. It's pretty funny. So rest of the running backs. So Deion Jackson's number 30, Bam Knight at 31, Khalil Herbert at 32, Jeff Wilson, the Goon at number 34, Gus Edwards, Chuba Hubbard, James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Tyler Algier, who actually looks pretty spry. It didn't happen this year, but you were kind of right about him. He is pretty good. And Rashad White at number 40. There was a clear distinction last week, like a lot more Leonard Fournette than Rashad White.
Yeah, it switched back for sure. That's one that actually, I mean, it kind of did for Algier to go back. He's top 35 right now, so kind of. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything more than RB3, so I'm taking that one. I'll just go back to I don't know if you called this Leonard Fournette situation. You said, like, oh, we're just going to play this mix and mash, and then they're going to save him as soon as we get close to the playoffs. It's going to just be like smash Leonard Fournette. It's not a full smash. It's not back to 80, 90% Leonard Fournette, but they did reverse course and go right back to him. You're still seeing the passing game use when Rashad White was the lead, and I put that a little bit in quotes. It's against Arizona, which I don't know. You could make an argument either way, Pat. So I wonder where I see your ranks, but I wonder which way you go with this one, and the fact that like you can make the argument of, hey, Tampa Bay finally in a spot where they might be able to cruise and they could just lean on Leonard Fournette? Or is it the converse side of it of like this is a James Cook situation where they get the lead, let's use Rashad White and keep Leonard Fournette healthy?
I think you're giving the Bucs way too much credit to try to be competent.
Okay, so there you go.
If you don't think that they're going to play some sort of stupid game with the Cardinals, you got another thing coming. Like it's not going to be it's not going to be, oh, we're up by 21. This is a team that can't score. They can only kick field goals.
That's true. Oh, I tweeted that, I think, on Sunday or Monday. I was like, congratulations, everybody. The NFL definitely wants you to spend time with your families. If you didn't notice, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay, Arizona's the night games on Christmas Eve and Christmas.
Well, it's funny because the way that they set this up, like if you had talked about this, I mean, we probably did on the scheduled release show. We talked about the Christmas Day games. Like this is fucking packed with like great games right now. You got Aaron Rodgers at Tua. Maybe Miami can be on the up and up. This is right after the Tyreek Hill trade when the schedule got released. It's like, yes. Okay, that's a great game. Russell Wilson at Matt Stafford.
The Super Bowl champions. Now you can skip out during the middle of the day.
Yeah, now you got Brett Rippon against Baker Mayfield. And then Tom Brady at Kyler Murray. Kyler coming back. Arizona's supposed to be pretty good. Here we go. And like, no, this is not good at all.
You could maybe watch the first game for entertainment, and then just the rest of the day you can just do Christmas stuff. Wait. What was the argument for Raiders at Steelers on Christmas Eve, though?
I mean, I don't think there is a more historic AFC matchup than Raiders and Pittsburgh. Like, those are two big fan bases nationally.
They are.
So I think that's why that's there.
That's just all it was? Because, I mean, I could see the Raiders similar to the, hey, they could be on the up and up this year, but I don't get the Steelers part of it. I get what you're saying about the matchups-wise.
The Steelers fall into the same category as the Packers and the Cowboys. I think those are probably
just going to get viewership no matter what.
Yeah, like they're just popular teams. I believe that the Steelers are the most popular NFL team amongst females. So that's a great way to talk your spouse into letting you watch the Saturday night games because she might be a fan of the Steelers. These historic franchises, it's hard to take them out of these situations.
Which I understand. It's just like at the beginning of the season when you were talking about the schedule and you're talking about Christmas and what the thinking probably was. And I know it didn't line up because they're not playing each other, but I would have felt like they would have tried to, if you thought the Raiders were going to be contenders this year, is to line up Raiders at Kansas City or something like that. For that would have been the thought. That's all. That's the reason I was getting behind. Like I don't get the Pittsburgh side of it.
Yeah, and even to try to replace this, it would be pretty tough. Like if they had looked at it a few weeks ago and tried to flex this out, you can only take games from that day. And 100% was protection on Philadelphia and Dallas from Fox. I guess they could have stolen Washington and San Francisco, but I mean,
The viewership, like you said, wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, I mean, Giants at Minnesota would actually be a super fun Sunday night football game. Just because it would just have
Bengals at Patriots. Patriots are going to get viewership, and the Bengals are.
I would think that's the game that CBS protects.
Yeah. So, Saints Browns, let's go.
Yeah, Saints, Bills Bears. Get Justin Fields. Yeah, well, Justin Fields on Pride, but the Bills. I think the Bills, and there's certain things at this time of year too. I think the Bills have their like allotted primetime amount of games because they play next Monday Night Football.
Oh, so they already have to. I was gonna say that's gonna be a fun game just for the entertainment factor.
Oh, Bills against Fields. Absolutely, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
you get to see Josh Allen versus
100%.
new proto Josh Allen.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that's more Josh Allen-y. Yeah.
It's Fields. Fields is the closest thing to Josh Allen, like when Josh Allen was terrible.
I was gonna say, no, because my argument was Jalen Hurts last year.
Yeah, but
I was saying like that's why.
Maybe I have this misremembered in my mind, but I just feel like maybe it's their playing style. But Hurts just feels a lot bigger than Jalen Hurts. And I looked at the metrics. I think Fields is like 2 inches taller and 10 pounds heavier or something like that. But he just seems like, because it's the way that he initiates contact when he runs, where Fields actually does Hurts, sorry. Yeah, Fields initiates contact. Hurts does like a Lamar. He's much better at avoiding contact, except for last week, apparently. But
I talked about this with Meanie on the Monday show, and I said that I was like, the funny thing is I think Josh Allen feels like Cam Newton in that I'm worried about Josh Allen like 2 or 3 years from now from taking he takes too much, especially at the goal line when he calls his own number. The difference with Hurts, and I know, of course, we're sitting here talking about Hurts coming off a shoulder injury, so it's going to look like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? But you're right, is the difference in contact that they take. Yeah, it just happened with Hurts, and obviously Lamar Jackson's hurt right now. But I think Hurts and Lamar Jackson are a little bit smarter at avoiding most contact than it is Allen and Fields. Fortunately, to this point, Allen hasn't been hurt. But I was sitting here watching the game on Sunday, and I was like, man, I feel like in about a year or two, we're going to start having that Cam Newton, Josh Allen, like, stop. You're going to get yourself killed.
I don't know about that. Josh Allen, ever since he sustained the elbow injury on the run against the Jets, has done a much better job at protecting himself. Anyway,
he just goes head first, shoulder first at the goal line. Too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, the goal line's different because it's not max impact at the goal line. Like, the injuries that are going to be sustained at the goal line are someone's going to fall on you weird at the bottom of the pile. Like, that's absolute random chance a lot of the times. It's not like he's going, like, there's times where he'd just be trying to truck people like 25 yards downfield for no reason. At least he's sliding now.
They got to start doing the Michael Vick, dancing on the sidelines until somebody's just about to hit you and then step out and then get the extra 15-yard penalty on top of it. That's what they all need to start doing. Yeah,
but that hit is how you get hurt.
Okay, fair. That is true.
It might be worth the 15 yards, but like the hit that you see, like you could fall into the bench, fall into someone, like twist your ankle, like that. There's a reason you can't do that to people.
That's a very good point.
And I think quarterbacks are playing with fire if that's essentially what they're trying to. I like the guy in college that did like the fake run out of bounds. Everyone stopped. He just cut back to the middle of the field for a touchdown. That seems
that's
unfair.
How Kenny Pickett got that giant run last year.
Yeah, it was Kenny Pickett last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
It wasn't out of bounds. It was in the middle of the field. He was the fake. Yeah, it was the fake go down and then.
Okay, there was another one where it was like the trot at like slow down to go out of bounds. Everyone just kind of stopped and he cut back up to the middle of the field. Should be illegal.
No, that wasn't Kenny Pickett. Yeah, because you're basically intending. I'm with you on that.
Wide receiver rankings. Let's roll through these till we get to the hard part. Justin Jefferson, Stephen Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra, Devontae, Chase, Lamb, Godwin, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown. I bumped A.J. Brown down like 2 spots because of Gardner Minshew. I'm not too concerned about it. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, Mike Williams, Zay Jones at 15. Because why not? Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins. That is assuming the Trace of Spades, Trace McSorley, is playing. Then you got Mike Evans. I have Christian Watson still at number 21. Maybe I should revise that. I did that before Monday Night Football. Juju, Olave, Pittman, Ayuk, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, and Marquise Goodwin at number 30, assuming Tyler Lockett doesn't play.
Yeah, Lockett. It sounds like Lockett's out at least a week. They're starting to spin it positive, but it sounds like that's like you might return for week 17, and if they're still in it and it doesn't happen, then maybe week 18. I don't think he plays this week. What do you mean for like what? Do you want to move down? Christian Watson? I thought Christian Watson was still fine. Like he almost had a touchdown at the end of the game. So we wouldn't even be
he did, but it's just there's far like when he went on this run, Romeo Doubs is nowhere to be seen. Randall Cobb wasn't really a part of the offense. It's just there's more mouths to feed there at the moment. Not that I'm saying like move him down to 50, but like do I play Chris Olave over him? That kind of thing.
Yes. But you're not moving him down that far.
No. Somewhere like would you go Jerry Jeudy or it's a bad matchup for Jerry Jeudy against the Rams.
I would go Christian Watson.
Would you go DJ Moore?
I would go DJ Moore, then Christian Watson.
There we go.
The one I'm concerned about, it's just one game sample, but I'm most concerned with Allen Lazard. Aaron Rodgers is basically like, oh, I have Romeo Doubs back, as you say, and he's had that rapport with Watson. I mean, it's a one game sample, but if you just watch that game, you would be like, Allen Lazard's the 4, not even the 3. He's the 4. And I do think Lazard's going to have a bounce back. And I'm not saying Dobbs is definitively in front of him going against Miami. And all 3 of them could hit because against the Miami game. But like the pecking order right now looks like Watson, Dobbs, Lazard got kicked to number 3, unfortunately.
So let's see here. I have Lazard at number 41. I can drop him down.
That's a fair spot.
Let's just run through 31 through 40. Chris Moore, Deontay Johnson. If I knew of his Mitch Trubisky playing quarterback for sure and not Kenny Pickett,
Deontay Johnson would be 10.
I think I'd bump him up for sure. Like he's been not good because he hasn't scored any touchdowns, but he's been like a top 30 receiver in like 90% of the games with Mitch Trubisky, which is really weird. Drake,
do you know that was his first game with 90 yards?
I can see that. He had 10 catches. He should get to 90 yards.
Yeah.
So Chris Moore, Deontay Johnson, Drake London, Adam Thielen, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Gabe Davis, George Pickens, Marquise Brown, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Boyd, and then it's like Lazard. I assume Treylon Burks is coming back this week. I have him at number 42. Maybe? If he plays, that's where I'd have him. Slayton, Dotson, Skoranek, who got hurt last night, had hurt his ankle in the first half. That's why you didn't see really much of him doing anything. But he was a Baker Mayfield favorite 2 weeks ago when he first got there. The favorite of Baker Mayfield on Monday Night Football was the ground and sacks. Those were his 2 favorite targets. Demarcus Robinson, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, Russell Gage, Josh Palmer, Robert Woods, Khalif Raymond. Like I have Elijah Moore at number 52. Like Brad Smith, you don't want to play. Like what are we talking about here?
Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith.
Brad Smith. Jeff Smith.
Brad Smith was the guy that used to play quarter. He was like the receiver quarterback for them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you're going way back on that one. I think that, Elijah Moore is a worthy flyer because Denzel Mims got hurt too. Again, we talked about it last week for anybody that might not have seen the show, but Denzel Mims it's your replacement for Corey Davis. It was irrelevant anyway. Just let Elijah Moore do Elijah Moore things. So I think that's a fair spot because the name right behind him is somebody that I still don't want to start because guess what? Jared Goff is still on the road. I don't. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown and nobody else.
Watching that last week, I mean, I lost a lot of money on a DJ Chark under like 3 weeks ago. I made a lot of money on a DJ Chark under last week, and I could see the same thing happening this week against Carolina. Like it wasn't really Chark's fault. Just I think he lined up with Sauce Gardner on every snap. And they were just like, yeah, we're not throwing that way. And this week, I think he's going to get J.C. Horn every single time.
So I mentioned that in the waivers. So that's to go back to it for your why not and Zay Jones. And this is coming from Zay Jones guy who, after that first week, I was like, I know he had a down game. Play him again. Last week, smash DFS. That's my one concern. Does Gardner go to Zay Jones this week and not?
We'll see about that.
And not Christian Kirk.
They do move Zay around the formation a lot. And like even last week, there was a lot of bumping Zay in, bumping Kirk back out to the outside in motion. I think that they're going to try their best to say, hey, Marvin Jones, your revenge game against the Jets. Here, you just stay by Sauce Gardner. Make sure he doesn't go anywhere.
You kind of take him away? Is that what you're saying?
Like we're going to try to actively put our worst receiver lined up where he's lined up, and we'll figure the rest out.
I mean, it would be smart, but you would think that the Jets would counteract that and say, like,
Sauce, but anyway, Sauce doesn't really move though.
I know, but he does a little bit. Into what he's done sometimes is what you said is like he's stuck with the number and just eliminated the number 2 at times. So I don't know. Anyway, point being, I could just see that'd be the risk with Zay Jones. I'm not saying don't play him. I've been like play him. Like if I'm looking at your ranks to go way back up, Keenan Allen, I would play. I wouldn't play. I wouldn't play Amari Cooper over him. Deshaun Watson still has rust. Keenan Allen, I probably would, and then he's in the conversation with Hopkins and Evans. So I'm not moving him down that far. I'm just adding the point that there's some risk there.
Okay, I can get on board with that. I'll drop him to one spot behind Hopkins.
There's really nobody else down your list that like we even really need to talk about.
Yeah, no,
Dobbs
I mean,
should be further up.
yeah, but are you really playing him?
I mean, you might need to.
Who are you playing him over?
I put Chenault over Richie James.
Oh, I had already moved him up. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had him in that like
Okay.
Elijah Moore, DJ Chark territory.
Your boy's back, and you only have him at 55. Me, Cole Hardman. He's only at 55. And
He was great when we last saw him. I think like that's a fun flyer that you can take if you need like 2 touchdowns to come out of nowhere. Just be very, very concerned about like a 1-for-9 in your direction. Maybe a reverse too.
Yeah, no, don't even. Kadarius Toney didn't even have 10% of the snaps in his first game back.
Yeah. And he's back too. Like you can't play Kadarius Toney. Lord knows he might only play 10 snaps.
Oh, I was adding that note to say maybe they do something similar to what the Lions had done. Like as receivers came back, their first game back, they barely got any work, and it wasn't until their second game. So I was adding that to the point of the risk of Mecole Hardman too.
What is going on with Jamison Williams? Obviously, you can't play him. But like, are they just really easing him back in? What was the point of bringing him back?
Your guess is as good as mine. This is look. We're trying to figure out Dan Campbell doing this with the like. What's the point of running Jamal Williams 13 times for fewer yards than DeAndre Swift gets on 7 or 8 or whatever it was?
Because if you give DeAndre Swift more than 7 touches a game, he's brittle. He'll get hurt.
He'll explode into a cloud of dust. He'll get Thanos snapped out of existence.
Exactly.
No, look, like I'm with you in this fact because it's like, why did you do this? Like it would be. So it's the Desmond Ridder situation right now. Like apparently Marcus Mariota's injury was serious because he's having it like surgery. Like everybody was like, oh, does he really have injury? And it turns out he did. But I'm bringing this in to say like, why would you, let's say Mariota wasn't hurt and then you bring in Ridder to evaluate Ridder for next year. Like, why would you do that if you were going to like only run the ball 7,000 times and only not let him pass more than 10 or 12 times? Like, because you need to evaluate. So I'm with you. I don't understand it is what I'm saying. I don't understand why you activate a first-round pick, top 4 talent in the draft, try to get him some run, and you don't even increase his snaps in any of the 3 games yet? Like, I get Chark is good, but he's not Jamison Williams. If Williams could be unleashed, I don't get it. I'm baffled.
It's like his role on the Lions right now, and maybe they think they're going to make it. And now that they like are kind of lining up, that if they can win out, they can make the playoffs. That he can be like a real factor for them once it gets around. So they don't want to overdo it. But like his role on the Lions is essentially Deshaun Jackson's role on the Ravens right now. Hey, run deep 4
100%.
times a game.
100%. They're playing high school football. They just drew a line in the dirt and said, "Go do that."
I mean, it was effective that one time.
Then one time, I actually played him that 1 week.
This has to be,
fun.
I guess Ridder will get the Cardinals next week, so that's fine. But like he comes in, like they finally let him start. It's at the Saints, at the Ravens, Buccaneers. At least he has that one Cardinals game. Like, how are you supposed to evaluate the guy? You just put him against good defenses.
I know. I had Ridder way too high because I had him like 21 last week, and I said, hey, he's worth the flyer because
He might run.
you get me 201. That's all I want in the passing game is 201 because the running's going to be there, 40, 50 yards, and maybe you get a touchdown. The yards were there, didn't get the touchdown. The passing was not. To go back to your Drake London rank, by the way, 42% of the targets, 72% of the passing yards went to Drake London last week.
Was he even a top 30 play?
Drake London?
Yeah.
I think he just missed.
Yeah, because he fumbled on
I'm going to check while you go to quarterbacks.
He fumbled on the last play of the game. But yeah, quarterbacks.
I know. Which...
Josh, number 1. Mahomes, number 2. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is hurt. He's probably not going to play. Justin
He was
Fields,
32nd.
Justin Fields, number 3. Herbert, Burrow, Cousins, Lawrence, Tua, Geno, Tom Brady is the top 10. Now it gets into if you lost Hurts, what do you do range? Maybe Cousins is available. That's like possible. Or maybe someone dropped Geno after the last little bit. I doubt it. Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, Sam Darnold, and Derek Carr. I would turn to Daniel Jones if I lost Hurts. I mean, you can turn. He's been a good fantasy quarterback.
Look, last week he didn't even get 10 points.
That's fine. It was
I know it's
tough game. He gets Minnesota.
Washington.
He gets Minnesota.
I know. Here's what I'll say. I don't disagree if you're looking for pure 100% upside, which might be your argument and what you're making because you're trying to replace Jalen Hurts. So you're going for pure ceiling. I think that there's two factors here. If you're looking for the rest of the season, I would still go Purdy over Jones for the rest of the season. This week, individually, I don't have a problem with Daniel Jones over Purdy against Washington's defense. The one in that list that I would go to is if you want the floor with similar upside, not quite, but with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow back, we're getting good Derek Carr.
At Pittsburgh?
I don't even care. Pittsburgh's defense isn't that good.
It's not. It's
better.
I agree. It's not that good, but it's still Derek Carr. I mean, I have Goff at 12. We talked about Goff outside. I think there's a difference between Goff in New York and Goff in Charlotte. I actually think that's not going to be all that detrimental to him. Now I'm picking and choosing what I want to believe. The offense is
I was going to say you're picking your narratives. I think if you looked at Derek Carr with Hunter Renfrow out there, not even 50%, and Darren Waller was actually just over 50% last week, and now you get a full game of them back. This is the Derek Carr we knew when everything was clicking and everybody got super excited for. I would go Derek Carr before Daniel Jones.
I wouldn't. I'm keeping Daniel Jones at 11.
No, pure ceiling. Pure ceiling is a different story.
Either way, I think the floor probably rests. I mean, who has more fantasy points this year?
Again, you're talking about I don't know if it's that far of a gap, and you're also talking about the fact that he hasn't had Waller and Renfrow for most of the year.
I mean, Daniel Jones has been thrown.
I bet it's pretty close.
I mean, Daniel Jones has legit been throwing to creative players all year long.
Yeah, he's also Daniel Jones.
Yeah, so he's going to run.
And he's 230 to 213, so he's got him by 17 points.
Okay, and I like the matchup more for Daniel Jones in this spot, mainly because I know the other team, listen, for all the faults of Minnesota, they're going to score points eventually in a game, which is going to keep Daniel Jones moving forward, running the ball, throwing it deep to Slayton. Where I mean, this Pittsburgh Raiders game could be like 9-6.
Now, you know what's going to happen next week, Ranks, if it happens, and this is the Daniel Jones time, is like when you want to trust him, you're going to get Jared cooked. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to say, you got Jared cooked.
I have Lamar at number 13. How would you feel?
If he plays.
I mean, I got bounced because I played we had the discussion last week, Matt Ryan versus Heineke. If I had played Heineke, I think I would have advanced. I lost by 3 points. And I think Heineke outscored Ryan by 3 points.
I tried to tell you, Heineke.
But the only reason I was in the game, I was a 40-point underdog in my matchup. He had Jonathan Taylor, got hurt. He had like 3 guys get hurt, so it was a very close matchup. So I needed the upside points, and I think that Matt Ryan was the right play. It's just I didn't expect 2 defensive touchdowns to come from the Colts. Then Matt Ryan was put on ice for 3 quarters. That's what happened. Like Matt
Ryan is ice. Matt Ryan puts himself on ice.
Hey, the first quarter he had like 10 fantasy points. I was like, all right, here we go. Let's go a little bit back and forth. And it was excited? Like, oh my god.
I'm looking. I would go Lamar Jackson over Tom Brady.
It's a great matchup.
There's no way I know that's why it's at freaking Atlanta at home. There's no way I'm not putting Lamar Jackson. Like, I want to put him higher, but now I'm factoring risk in his first game back. And then you got Geno in a good matchup. You got Tua against Green Bay at home. Trevor Lawrence has been the godsend we've hoped from college, and now he's finally to fruition. I guess the Jets, maybe if I played with my projections, we'll find out tomorrow. I could see maybe having Tua, Geno, Lamar, Trevor. I know Trevor's been on fire, but against I'm trying to think things out. It's like, my point being is I would put Lamar Jackson in that tier, and then Tom Brady would start the next tier for me.
Okay, I'll trust you on this one. I'll bump up Lamar to number 10 above Tom Brady.
I'll let you know when the projections and ranks are done, and you can see it. So
it's a Tuesday morning, Jake. Those should be done by now.
Yeah. No, I don't do my projection until Thursday for that very reason. There's too much information that comes out on Wednesday to not factor it in.
That's fair. Tight ends. Kelsey. This is no other year in the history of years, Jake, was my prediction of Travis Kelsey is most definitely a first-round pick better than this year.
Oh, this is your, you put it on your plaque behind you. This is the year for you.
So here are the week 16 tight end rankings. Kelsey, Evan Ingram, George Kittle, Firemouth, who had 0 points last week, Hawkinson, who was horrible in a game where 4,000 points were scored. Njoku, who looks like he gets hurt every play.
Did nothing.
Waller, who plays 50% of the snaps. Cole Kmet, who might get 3 catches in a game. Dalton Schultz, and then Mark Andrews. I bet that my biggest move last week, I benched Mark Andrews for Evan Ingram, and that's almost led me. If Evan Ingram just catches that touchdown that he drops, I win, and that ends up being the difference. But it wasn't even a hard decision to bench Andrews for Evan Ingram at this point.
I had Mark Andrews down at like 9-10, and I saw the industry still had him at 2 or 3, and I'm like, what are you waiting? What are you doing? Like, honestly, there was people out there that are like, yeah, but I want to bench Mark Andrews for a Conqueror. And I'm like, go right ahead.
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to argue against it. Like, and guess what? It was super close. I think Okonkwo actually outscored him.
He did.
So
well,
there you go.
Andrews was 3 for 36, I think. Okonkwo had that rush.
There you go. Dallas Goedert, if he's back, even with Gardner Minshew, I would play.
I have him at 11.
Waller.
I have him at 11.
Then
I have, if Hurst comes back, New England's secret sieve against tight ends. So Hurst is in a pretty good spot. Okonkwo.
Well, that was going to be my argument against. Remember last week, and I'm not. Look, I get plenty of things wrong on the show. You get plenty of things wrong. We both do. This is why we do this show together.
You never talk about the things you get wrong, though. You always talk about the things you get right, or the things you didn't even get right, but had good process that you got wrong.
Cam Akers, yeah, that completely got that. This is what I waited for, right? No. We talk about that all the time. Shut up. What I was going to say was, I told you, like, I sat here and argued with you about George Kittle last week. I'm saying
you nailed that.
But I would not against Washington. I would not have him at 3. I would play.
But who are you putting above him is the problem.
Waller. Goddard.
Really?
Waller and Goddard.
You just Goddard, first game back from being out with a separated shoulder.
Gardner Minshew targeted him 8 billion times, and I
get that.
I know AJ Brown wasn't there.
Do we think that he's going to play? Like, is he going to pull a Waller and play like 30% of the snaps?
Even, I would still take him again. Like Brock Purdy, it's like Washington's defense legitimately worries me. It was worried you. It's worried us for weeks. It worries me, especially against tight ends. They have been locked down on tight ends this year.
I'd be curious to know which tight ends they've actually played, because I think a lot of that goes into it. Like,
no, well, because that's the Giants. The reason I know
the Giants just have a bunch of fucking stiffs.
I know, but also this is what, so APA, adjusted points allowed, on the site that I have because of the wrestlers, damn, APA, is it takes into account who you've played too. So if, yes, you look over the overall ranks, they've only given up 4.3 per game. They just faced Bellinger. They faced nobody for Atlanta, nobody for Houston, but they held Dallas Goedert to 3 for 23 touchdown. So he saved his day.
That's a game that he got hurt in.
Did he get hurt in that game?
Yeah.
But I was going to go back to the first one. First one was 3 for 26 and a touchdown. Evan Ingram at the beginning of the year, a long time ago, 4 for 28. TJ Hawkinson, 3 for 26. Dalton Schultz, 0 for 0 for 0. Okonkwo wasn't a thing at that point. Kmet, 1 for 15. Tanyan, 3 for 32. Hawkinson again, 9 for 70. That's actually the best game. And nobody's hit double digits against them this entire year. It's not exactly a Hell's Bells, or Hell's Bells. What the hell am I talking about? A murderer's row of tight ends, but it's enough to say they are really good at stopping the tight end.
I think I would, in this circumstance with tight end being so shitty, I would take my chances with Kittle here.
I would too. I'm not saying knock him down. I would play him in front of Freiermuth and Hawkinson. I'm just saying I would play Waller, and if we get a full week's practice of Goddard.
Yeah,
I'm only moving down a few spots.
If Goddard gets 3 full days of practice in, then yes, I am good with moving him up to number 3. But until he's not limited, or they're like, well, we don't know about his snap count, I'm like, don't know about that. Juwan Johnson, I have at 14, by the way. Tyler Higbee caught his first touchdown on Monday night. Hero.
Yeah, Tyler Higbee, when nobody cared about him anymore.
Showdown, I suppose.
Oh, shoot. Defenses. Let's go.
Yeah, defenses, let's go. I have week 16 and week 17, so I'm just going to run through these. Someone already got mad at me for my week 16 rankings. I didn't have Pittsburgh in there in the top 19. I don't give a fuck about Pittsburgh's defense. Who cares? San Francisco.
Against the Raiders? The Raiders can put up points like anybody can.
I'm with you. So I go Niners, Ravens, Bills, Browns, Titans, Chiefs, Cowboys, Buccaneers, Jets, Rams. That's my top 10 for week 16. And that's followed by Vikings, Eagles, Broncos, Lions, Cardinals. Week 17, next week, Philly, Niners, Cardinals at number 3. Baltimore. So it sounds like if you have a chance, my whole conclusion here is that if you have a chance to pick up a defense right now and that you don't have one of the top ones, Arizona's D is pretty good right now.
Yeah, Arizona, Cleveland's decent. Tennessee's in the mix for these are like some of the streamers. Well, actually, no. Tennessee's next week is not very good. I'm trying to think. There was one other that was out there. Oh, Detroit's not bad.
Yeah,
Detroit's got Carolina and Chicago.
Yeah, Detroit's good. I have them top 10 next week, and I have them top 12, I think, this week. So,
And real quick before we get out of here, because I got a lot of pushback, I have Tennessee as my top streamer, and people are like, have we not seen that Kansas City and Dallas didn't have good games against Houston? It's like, first of all, both their defense, well, Kansas City's defense is not that good. We were just hoping that they were going to force them to a shootout, which didn't happen. Dallas's is falling apart. Second of all, the strength of the Titans defense is they are great against the run. You sit back and just dominate the run and let Davis Mills is not going to obliterate the Tennessee Titans defense.
I would agree with you. I have them inside my top 10 this week, so I agree with you on the Titans defense. All right, Jake, at AllinKid on Twitter, have a very Merry Christmas, sir.
You too.
Thank you.
I don't know why I said that surprisingly. You too.
You too? Someone put a question mark on your teleprompter. That's never any good.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
At AllinKid on Twitter for Jake. His rankings will come out on Wednesday at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on theathletic.com. So go on, head over there, and jump into his chat because he'll see it and he'll answer your question, unlike me. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!